Going to draw a nightstand using Sketchup, and we're going to start off with going over the shortcut keys. Spacebar gives you the pointer. I'm going to maximize my screen here. And spacebar gives you the pointer. R, rectangle. P, push pull. T, tape measure. And that'll be the main commands we use for this example. So we're going to start off with R for rectangle. I'm going to click the origin, which is where the three axes come together. And I click and let go. I'm going to drag just in this direction because I want a rectangle 3/4 of an inch by 18 inches. So I type 3/4, 18 and enter. There's my little rectangle. I can click on the zoom extents, which really brings it in. Doesn't need to be that big. So I have my rectangle. Now we're going to P for push pull and pull that rectangle up. Once again, click and let go. Go the direction I want it to go. And now I'm going to type 2/4 for 24 inches and enter. There I have a representation of a side. Now we're going to put the dado joints in for this project. To do that, I'm going to use T for tape measure to put in some guidelines. Now when I put in my guidelines, I'm going to reference off of this top edge. I'm going to click, let go, drag. Notice I'm making sure it goes down on the blue axis. I could press the up arrow key on my keypad, which makes it go straight up and down. And I want that to be a 4-inch gap. Excuse me, I'm going to repeat this process to draw the 3/4 inch dado joint. So click this line, drag down, make sure it's on the blue axis. I could press the arrow key, the up arrow key. I'm going to type in 3/4. Repeat the process again. This is just one way of doing this. I'm going to click the bottom line, drag it down 5 inches, and then pull that line down 3/4 of an inch, 3/4, enter. Now I want this to be a stopped or blind dado. So I'm going to drag the front edge back along the green axis, 1 inch. I could press the left arrow key, which constrains it to the green axis. Type 1, enter. Now we're going to draw a rectangle inside the guidelines that we just created. So each set of guidelines will have a rectangle. My next step is I'm going to delete the guides just to clean it up. While I am here, I like to put a little design here, so I'm going to use the tape measure tool again on the green axis, 4 inches from the front, and on the green axis or left arrow key, 4 inches from the back. I'm now going to press A for arc. If you look at the cursor, look at the arc underneath the pencil. See the little red dot on the left side of the arc. That's my first click. I want the left side of the arc to be there. Now look at the cursor, it gives me the right side of the arc. I want it to be there. If you pay attention to the cursor, now it gives you the bulge of the arc. And in my text box to the right, you can see the bulge goes from 3 to 5 or whatever. I want it to be 4, so I'm just going to type 4, enter. And there I have that drawn on to the side of my board. We can hit the E for erase and delete the guides. I'm going to hit P for push-pull. Push the arc to the other face. I could reference the other face. I can reference this edge, whichever, to delete that. Okay. Next is to push in our dado joints. I'm going to push that to the inside, or to the middle of this board. Traditionally, that would be the center point or the midpoint of the board. I could type 3/8. I could just double click after I do it one time, which is what I did. So there I have my side. I'm going to dimension it real quick. All of the dado joints are 3/4. And the board is 3/4 of an inch. So there is my dimensions for that. So if you're having problems, you can pause the video here, and that'll get you your dimensions. I'm going to triple click it, right click, make component. I never mess with the names on too many of these small projects. Create. I'm going to move a copy of this using the M for move and pressing Control for a PC and Option for a Mac. And I'm going to drag it on the red axes. Oh, let's just go 14 inches. Now, for this to be the right side, I need to flip it. So I'm going to right click, flip along the red. Now both joints face each other. I'm going to hide those dimensions for now. Now I'm going to create my shelves. I'm going to use R for rectangle. I'm going to draw a little rectangle right in this dado joint, just from corner to corner. Push pull. I'm going to push pull that and infer it to the front edge of the dado joint. Make sure you go to the front edge. My next step is to pull that shelf across and infer it to that point. Space bar, triple click, right click, make component, and create. So there's our shelf. Let's move M, a copy of the shelf, straight down Notice I always select endpoints or corners or midpoints. I'll bring that down so it lines up with the other dado joint. And there we have two sides and two shelves. Next step we're going to do is draw the top. R for rectangle. I'm going to select the front left corner, then come to the back right corner. Click again. P for push-pull. Pull that surface up 3/4 of an inch. Enter. Now I'm going to work on the overhang, which is pulling the left side out 3/4, the right side out 3/4. I leave the back flush, and notice you can tell it's the back because you can see the entire shelf. The front side of the shelf stops shy of the front. And to finish it, pull the front out 3/4 as well. Just using 3/4 to keep it simple. So my top is getting close to being done. Two things I want to do. I want to use the space bar and select the entire top, triple click, M for move. I'm going to select this corner, press the up arrow key on my keypad. I'm going to drag it down 3/8 for 3/8 of an inch. I got to create a joint here for my top to fasten to the side. So I'm going to draw a rectangle right here where you see the side piece overlapping the top overlapping the side. I want to draw a rectangle right there. And then I'm going to repeat that process on the other side. All I did was draw a rectangle where the top is overlapping the side. Now I'm going to push that rectangle that I just drew. Notice how the line disappears. And if you'll watch up here, see the line going across? I'm going to infer that to the front edge of the side, not the top. So I'm going to, when I get to my cursor to here, on edge, click. And then, if I did it correctly, I can double click here. And you can now see a line going right across there. Now, what that did was, I'm just showing you what that did, so don't do anything. That created this dado joint right underneath here. Don't do this, I'm just showing you what I just did. Okay, we created that dado joint. So I'm going to delete that because I don't want it on there. Now we're going to router the top edge, just like if we were, or we're going to follow me, but it's routering in the wood shop. So I'm going to create a design. For this one I'm using A for arc, and I went from midpoint to tangent to the top. Oh, there it snaps to tangent. Double click. Now I'm going to zoom out using the wheel, and holding the shift button down, I'm going to select these three lines, the three blue lines you see. We're now going to use the follow me tool. The blue line will disappear when I click on follow me, and that's just fine. Click on follow me. Now I'm going to select this triangular shape, and now you can see that it created the pattern on the front and the two sides. I'm left with this little corner, which is a E for erase, and that's taken care of. Last step, sorry for zooming in and zooming out so much, bad habit, I know. Triple click, right click, make component, and create. So there I have created my assembled view of my nightstand. And real quick, I'm going to select everything. I'm not making a component, I'm just moving a copy, so either Control or Option, whichever operating system you're using. I'm now going to create an exploded view, which is I'm just moving the top straight up 4 inches. Move M. I'm just moving the top up 4 inches and the 2 sides out 4 inches, so then you can kind of get a feeling for how the project would go together. If I was doing this and we're all said and done, we'd have some joints made, but I don't have that done yet.